I am not going to read 500 aphorisms. Eight topics this time, although the one, I'm not gonna read it. It's like 500 different aphorisms he's thrown out there. We'll make a list. Read the book yourself. But you should be doing that anyway. Topics are keys to the Don Juan, towards manhood, women initiating dates, on marriage, how to get a Pook to shut up, finance, traits of successful people I've met, aphorisms, endure, and being Don Juan. So let's get started. The keys to the Don Juan, it's got three small sections where he talks about the three things that he thinks are most important when it comes to dating and relationships. It's key 1, her sexuality and yours shall be embraced. Key 2, fun shall be the focus. And key 3, you're the prize to be won. So it's kind of been a theme throughout all of these ones. He realizes that, and this kind of can be boiled down into you can't negotiate desire. I'm sure you've heard of that through Rollo Tomasi's work, just about everybody's work. It seems fairly obvious that if she's not into you, there is no rational argument you can make that'll go against that. It's just not going to happen. And part of that is embraced in key 1. The idea is she's a girl, you're a guy, you're dating. Obviously, you want to be intimate, so just be honest with that. Don't hide it. Don't pretend like we need to be friends first. Don't worry that, well, if I make myself available and she shoots me down, well, then I've lost everything I've built up. It's like that's a human being in front of you. It's not a quest to have won. Like, sorry, Mario, your princess is in another castle. I'm sure you get that gimmick there. And then for fun being the focus, again, we live in the land of abundance. Like right now, I don't know if this, when you guys are watching this one, but if you're watching it live, we have a huge supply chain issue in North America. Goods and services aren't getting out to anybody right now. Shelves are being troubled on the stocking, and everybody's doing just fine. So like even during things now like 100 years ago, something as simple as a logistic issue of supply chains getting crops to the table, people would starve to death. So we're not there. There is no commodity need for a man. Like bacon, bringing home the bacon. It's like, well, bacon's $3 at the grocery store and she's got a job working Ankshire. She'll be fine. And so being fun is like a huge part of this. In the land of abundance, the only thing that people are short of is, I guess, fun, enjoyment. Everybody gets kind of despondent. Everybody gets bored. Everybody gets kind of, well, nothing really matters because everything's fine. Again, I think it was like Conan the Barbarian. If you guys remember that movie, great movie, by the way. They always say that success tests a man more than the strongest enemy. And that's when Schwarzenegger dropped his head into a bowl of porridge. And it's kind of true. So again, just being fun, being the kind of guy who can have fun and enjoy situations, extremely rare. And not only will it make your life better, but anybody who wants to be part of your life, anybody around you's life will be better, and they'll make an effort to be better to you. And then, of course, part 3, you're the prize to be won. And so I normally I call them don't eat paint warnings, where you put something obvious like that, and then everybody will come up to you saying that these guys are stupid, they're going to screw it up, and this is how they're going to screw it up. It's from the military time in me, where you always had to teach the lowest common denominator. But lately, I've had a slight change of heart on the you are the prize and fake it till you make it, because it's amazing how much delusion guys come out of this. So here, you are the prize to be won. There's a correlation with that. There's something you have to think about that comes afterwards, and that is you're actively working to be the prize. You're taking pride in your accomplishments. You know what you bring to the table. You know what you offer. You know how good a catch you are. And the point of this is to internalize the work you've already done, not to just pretend that you're awesome and everybody will have to believe you. That's a narcissistic injury, or as they call in these circles, gamma male bullshit. Brings up the case here in the realm of Greek mythology. Sisyphus was considered to roll a stone up a hill. Yet poor Sisyphus, the rock would always roll back down. The more he pursued for his goal, the more he encountered defeat. And just as in today, the nice guys see the paradise and the women they're attractive to, a dream in the flesh. They pursue their goal and they roll their rock up with phone calls, intimacy, and affection. But for the poor nice guy, the harder they push, the harder it falls on them. The more they pursue, the more she flees. The more they declare their love, the more she vanishes forever, leaving nice guys with cold, hard pain. She's just not interested, bro. Again, if you have to fight this hard, there's something not there. And I like how he put it this way, as in like you're doing the Sisyphean task, but in general, it's just a way of saying you can't negotiate desire. If your first impression didn't get you there, it's not going to be there. And that's fine. Move on. It brings up the case where somebody else was like, oh yeah, but I've already got a wife. I don't need to worry about this. And he goes, for Sisyphus strikes at the worst in marriage. And he goes, I'll say it again. Strikes at his worst in marriage. He makes sissies of us all. The married nice guy, sissy, faces the hardest consequences by failing to be a man, not become a father, but you become a substitute mother. And no wonder divorces are widespread and constant. No wonder lesbianism is on the increase. Well, fair enough. If males act feminine, then what are women supposed to do? I mean, I got no research that says this, but I'm like, whatever, it's good enough. Yeah, it's everybody, there's a common saying that to be red pill and married is like being red pill on hard mode. And I agree to a certain extent because, I mean, the work's the same, but the difference is if you're just dating a girl 3 days a week, you've got to be on 3 days a week. Couple hours. That's it. 12 hours. You can be on for 12 hours. I can do the ballet for 12 hours a week if I had to, if it paid well enough. But when you're married, they see you when you wake up. They see you when you go to sleep. They see you when you're eating. Heaven forbid if you're one of those weirdo couples, she sees you when you're on the John taking a deuce. Don't be that couple, by the way. Keep some privacy to yourself. But that's the point, is that it's the ultimate fake it till you make it. Like a lot of guys, yeah, you can act totally Don Juan, alpha, whatever you want to say when you're dating a girl at your first meeting. Take her on a glorious vacation. It's wonderful. Let's see you pull that off 24/7, 365. It's not easy, but that's the thing. And I'm going to use another reference here where it's like Atlas asked the world not for a lighter load, but for stronger shoulders. It turns out this stuff isn't hard. It's just you need to be consistent. So once you get there, once you get to the point where you're naturally attractive, where you got your stuff unlocked, you act like a man, as he puts it, you have your good boundaries, you have all this stuff in place. It was a little bit of work when you were a kid and didn't know what you were doing, but now that you're a man, you got it figured out, and it comes naturally. Like, you've seen us talk about this all the time on our podcast and that, where Rolo was like, guys are like, are you gaming your wife for 25 years? He goes, I don't have to game her. I am the game. And again, it's a cheeky sounding thing, but that's kind of what he's saying. He's like, the stuff that I do right now is naturally attractive enough that I don't have to try. I just go live my life, and it just so happens it's the most attractive person I can be. And that's where you want to go with this. Or just keep hauling boulders, except for in November. You don't want to do it in November. He ends it off on a nice little saying, though. So why does the nice guy stay mediocre? Because he is told that somebody will love him for who he is. How destructive is this statement? What an obstacle it is for success. For it makes them seem like all values are relative, and thus making him blind to his mediocrity. Look, a storm's approaching, and off goes the nice guy, sailing away, scared and frightened. Smooth seas never made successful sailors. The nice guy is the great fisherman who fishes in the docks. I mean, you can figure that one out. Women initiating dates. So most guys on this forum, the So Suave forums, were or are nice guys. Spot infatuation as soon as it begins. It's important to see it before you mistake it as love. And this is what makes puppies out of nice guys. Now, I disagree with what I wrote about girls initializing dates and romance. I have never in my life seen a girl initiate a date for romantic interests. Girls will tell you that they are interested by flirting, and guys will confirm that interest by asking for her number. So just from observation, guys seem to fall in love much, much faster than girls do. And the best defense I can see is have interest in other women. This will prevent the she's the only one for me disease. One-itis. Men want sex, women want relationships. If they make it hard for us, then why should we not make it hard for them as well? I like this one mostly because it lets you know there's a difference. So most guys, if you haven't been dating, you have no experience, you get over infatuated. As soon as any girl gives you anything, you treat it like this is the one, greatest girl ever. I'm sure everybody has had either been that teenager or had a little brother or a teenage son, and they talk about this girl's the greatest girl ever. And you always see dad and it's like, all right, whatever, this one this week. And yeah, it's because the guy has no idea. He doesn't understand. It's just like a little bit of sexual interest. And then you take that sexual interest, he assumes it's true love. He assumes it's the one. And that's because he's scarce. Again, if you're starving, a cracker tastes delicious. It's the most delicious cracker and you want more. And then you realize after you've eaten, it's just a cracker. Same thing here. Understand, infatuation is infatuation. She doesn't know you, so right now she's super interested in what she perceives you to be, what her ego projects onto you. Sometimes that works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. You know, some guys look like that asshole ex-boyfriend, and other guys look like, he would look like the kind of guy my dad would really hate. I'm gonna date him. So just realize, and then from a personal experience, I've seen the same thing. Like even my example dating like a borderline girl, and I don't know if she was or not. Borderline personality disorder is mostly a code for guys that says this girl won roughshod over me. So take that for what it's worth. Maybe she's diagnosable, maybe she's not. All I know is I got ran over. Even with her, sexually aggressive type, she flirted with me. I asked for the number. So even then, like, the game still works for the game. I've never seen an example, and usually if you look into it, it's never happened where the girl does all the work. So on marriage, the unfaithfulness of women is nothing new. Simply read the introduction to Arabian Nights. The Sultan, realizing the unfaithfulness of all women, decides to sleep with her one night and kill her the next day. The savior of women comes and tells stories to the Sultan. And then he created... It's funny, isn't it? The original MGTOW is the Arabian Nights Sultan. You can't trust these hoes, so you gotta murder them once a day. Anyways, it's a good parable here for guys. And just understand, the point he makes here is that men created marriage to bind the woman to her. The deeper you go into religious and ancient philosophies, the more one will be struck by the misogyny, but there's truth to it. It is women more than men who cheat. Though to be fair, this might be because they just have more opportunities. It is women more than men who initiated divorce. Many women can't stand it. Monogamy is more against their instincts than ours. No one would deny institutions like the state, science, and that are all male created, but so is marriage. Yeah, it's really, I mean, the way we understand marriage now was a consequence of the agricultural revolution. So back in the day, it was pretty, poly-type relationship. It was just hunter-gatherers. Once land became valuable, people had to own land. Agriculture doesn't happen without private property. Otherwise, you just get freeloaders that ruin the whole thing. So when you had ownership, then the idea of you had to assume paternity. So that's why you needed marriage. A marriage was the way of basically keeping a girl faithful to you and making sure your kid was yours. So you're not giving your hard-earned farm to some random milkman's kid. But again, this idea that women, all they want is marriage, is kind of a fiction. Women want a wedding. You've seen tons of examples. Dude, if you've watched Whammon Ain't Shit videos, and I'm sure if you're watching this, you've probably seen your fair share of them, and I don't know why you're still filling your head with that filth, but whatever. You will see so many examples of women wanted a great wedding. They like the idea of being a bride. They like being able to call people a wife, like be able to call somebody a husband. It's all it's the impression of it. It's the identity. But then when it comes to actually doing things in a marriage, you're going to find nonstop, no shortage of guys talking about how their wife is subpar in every way possible and then say happy wife, happy life. Marriage is for men. And don't kid yourself on that one. And I agree with Pook here. If you must, and I don't know why you would, there's tons of other ways to go about it, but if you must get married, make the girl work for it. After all, she made you wait 3 months to get in their pants. Charles Bukowski, Jordan Peterson, Neil Strauss. I like these guys. Add some salt to cover up the bitterness of middle-aged soccer moms and put in the oven for 45 minutes. Optionally, you can take from all this stuff what you want and leave the rest. So how do you get a Pook to shut up? He has 2 lists, 1 of 5, 1 of 3. The first one is be comfortable and confident to go get any girl at any time, no matter your financial or material situation. Know what you want in life, have a purpose or passion, which is stronger as a tether to keep you from being pulled by exploiters. Be able to say no to a girl, don't take crap from anybody. Create an identity that doesn't depend on women or female approval. Father, husband, boyfriend, player. All of these are insignificant because they depend on women in order to exist, which I'm going to touch on that in a minute. And then keep investing time in yourself. Don't shit your entire youth chasing girls. He talks about that for the initial relationship part, then moves on here, and I'll quote, become financially literate, Keep the option of investing or making a business, and do what you want. Do not follow the way. And he talks about the way being, like college, good job, marriage, big house, vacation, kids, save for college, retire. It's like you don't have to get married to do any of that stuff. There's no formula. Don't trust anybody who says that you should consider yourself lucky even if you feel unhappy. So the point here, it's all a generic list. It's pretty straightforward and there's a lot of depth to it, but just saying it as like an aphorism doesn't really help. The confident enough to get any girl at any time means get good at women, but don't make women your sole focus in life. I think it was a great Archwinger post. I've made a video on it where it's don't make her first, second, blah blah blah. Make her the seventh priority in your life. And I think that's a fair way of putting it. So yeah, just be confident enough that you can do it. And the only way you know you can do it is by doing it, so you can stop doing it. You know what I'm saying? Then the purpose and passion. Like, a lot of guys seem to hate that. They want that one purpose in life. Like, look, you're not going to get one true purpose and passion. You're going to get several. I have had many careers over my life. I've gone from digging ditches to meeting with C-suite, talking corporate strategy. I've gone from that to military, from that to author. Your passions will change over time, and that's okay. It's a very Taoist way of thinking, but pursue your passions. Then when they no longer become your passions, just set them aside, and that's okay. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing really matters except for which you give it meaning. I like it. To be able to say no, don't take crap from anybody. I just want, again, it's one of those don't eat paint ones that I don't want to do, but like, don't take crap from anybody doesn't mean you emote like a child and start having a temper tantrum when somebody disrespects you. It just means don't say yes to something unless it's in your best interest. There's very tactful ways of saying no. There's very polite ways of telling people to piss off, and just realize having a temper tantrum is not what we mean here. You gotta have a little bit of tact in life, and trust me, even while you're telling this person to sod off, other people are watching. Now, those people see how you treat them, and they realize, well, if I work with this guy or I relate with this guy, I'm going to be treated that same way later. Remember that rule? Judge a girl by how she treats the waiter? Think like that. The identity one, I love the identity one because it's probably the most important lately. I don't know, everybody seems to love being a patriarch or a player or a G and all this crap. And it's not even so much that it all depends on women to exist. Like, you can't be a player unless you're surrounded by women. So you're kind of making women the goal. So I get that. It's more so the guys that are building the identity as opposed to the identity manifesting from their actions. Again, you are what you do. What I hate about watching these is guys will tell themselves they're the alpha manipulator of the universe and the man's man and the Sigma mindset and all that crap. But they haven't done anything. Done nothing. And they're completely delusional. And this is what you call a narcissistic fantasy, which is a prime trait of what they call narcissistic personality disorder, which is masculinity dialed up to 12. You'd think that mean they'd be like an ogre, a strong man, perfectly aggressive. It's like, not so much. They got the mindset of a man, but the body of a 14-year-old, a 14-year-old gamer and chain smoker. So yeah, don't let your identity drive your actions. Have your actions drive you. And the identity will come from that. And for the most part, you don't even need to worry about it. And we'll get to that at the very last chapter. You'll see what we're talking about here. The last three, I like those because they're all about building freedom. Like becoming financially illiterate. Know how to do your taxes, file financial statements, read financial statements, know how to invest, that kind of stuff. I mean, that should go without saying. Money frees up everything. Keeping open the option of investing or making a business. Again, he's not saying you have to start a business, but just have the point where if your work becomes truly untenable, you can just say, I'm out of here. A war chest, a 2-year war chest, absolutely perfect for that. And then the last one is just following the way. Don't let other people direct where your life goes because they don't have your best interest at heart. They have their own. And even if it's just like they want solidarity, they want somebody to do what they did so it makes them feel better about their choices. If you mess up, still your fault. So if it's going to be your fault anyway, you might as well do what you were going to do. Finance traits of successful people I've met. Now, I have not met nearly enough billionaires to confirm this. Met a couple millionaires. Known a couple millionaires. So, I mean, it lends credibility to it, but take it with a grain of salt. They seem to be aware of trends. And I don't mean fashion trends. I mean demographic trends and technological trends. He makes the case that Japan's population's going down, America's is going up, so buying real estate in Japan would be stupid, but buying real estate in America would have been good, and I think time's kind of proved him right on that one. Money seems to be attracted to communicators. I've never met a successful person who didn't have excellent communication skills, and I don't necessarily mean sales skills. I don't know if this is a chicken or egg thing, though, because I find when guys are successful in something, they can learn how to communicate better. Like Zuckerberg was very clearly an autistic type introvert, but he seems to be able to string a sentence together, even though he looks like a robot. A lot of these nerds will learn to be communicatively successful, and I would just say, learn the social savviness. It's a very important skill to have. Whether you learn it before or after you make it big, that's on you. All these people failed. Oddly, most of them held bitter memories of being made fun of in school or their youth. I get the sense they're trying to prove something to the world. I can relate to this. I'm like most people. I didn't really have a childhood I look back fondly on. And I see a lot of people who did. Very few, but some who did. And it's weird because they kind of get, I don't want to say lazy, but they don't have that certain drive. And I find the drive is like, it's like almost a fight or flight thing. I find that one of the best traits to have as a guy is not to be natural. Don't be naturally attractive with women. Be a little shorter. Be the fat kid in high school. Like something like that. Because then you never forget how bad things can be. Not only does it help you articulate the reasons that you can succeed afterwards, because you've had to learn them while you were, an adult, so you know what you're doing, but you learn to appreciate things. Like, I'm super blessed. Being here on YouTube, making a profit, doing this thing, paying the mortgage, that kind of stuff, it's absolutely insane. And I see a lot of kids who this is all they've ever done, and they just piss it away. But like I said before, I've dug ditches, I've ridden tractors, I've done time in the military, that I can sit here and stare into a little black box and run my mouth and make a living. Like, I'll never forget how it could be otherwise. So you always take it seriously. So I would suggest the same for you guys. And then lastly, like, money wasn't their focus. It was just doing what they love and maximizing it to this potential. Then money came. Maybe. Okay, for the aphorisms, I am not going to read all these. This is an entire book unto itself. There's like a audio book. It's like 42 minutes. So I don't know. Either I'm just going to skip by it right now, or I'm going to put a giant speed list on this side and have it run down. And you guys can pause the video and read them at your own leisure. Endure. The more successful you become in life, the more people will despise you. No one despises the innocent nice guy who happily takes orders, but everybody envies the one who knows what he wants and takes it. The guy who won't be played, the guy who manages to unite dream and day. All your married friends want you to fail. They whisper in your ear to do what I did. All your friends want you to fail. They will confer to you that you ought to shrug off these ideas of yours. Live like us, they'll tell you. Two parts to this. One, most of the time, your friends, your married friends, your children friends, your playboy, for all that stuff, they don't despise you. The problem is everybody is insecure. Like, nobody has a certain confidence about the way they're running their life. Almost nobody. And you'll know the guys who do, because they tend not to do this stuff. So what they need is a confidence. Did I make the right choices? And one of the best ways that people instinctively know to ensure you know you've made the right choices is that everybody else does what you do. That's why your married friends tell you to get married and then bitch about their wife. That's why the friends with kids who haven't slept in 3 weeks and don't even like their kids tell you, oh, you got to have kids. Because they want assurances that they did the right thing. It helps them stave off misery. And some guys are just generally happy and they're like, I think you'll like it. But you'll notice the difference you'll find is they aren't as pushy. They're just kind of like, this worked for me, you might like it. As opposed to, you gotta do this. Yeah, everybody envies the one who knows what he wants, takes it, the guy who won't be played. I mean, I don't even know if I want to bring this up. So I have everybody's got their stalkers. I just so happen to have a goofy wannabe pickup artist who's got an alcohol problem and a hooker fetish. All up on my ass. And I got another set of millionaire, playboy, cam girl, definitely not money launderers that do the same thing to me, which, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me. It's kind of endearing in a way, but it's very strange because I don't really care about I don't care about Lamborghinis and shit like that. I just do my thing, I live my life, and I'm perfectly happy with where I'm going. And it just seems that it makes it very easy to be the target of stuff like this. I'm not going to say it's because I'm awesome. I'm not going to say because it's I'm alpha. I don't care about that stuff. It's just everybody else I've talked to that has a path that they take that they're self-assured on. I don't know what to make of it. Make of it what you will. Let me know in the comments. I would love to get some kind of like shrink to analyze this dynamic. And we end off. So this is the last of Pook. I said I'd come back to this. It's about being Don Juan. I would say before we start, when he says Don Juan here, that's what was like the pickup ideal. If you talk to the red pill guys or guys who think they're red pill, they always talk about being an alpha male or a sigma male or the pinnacle of manliness and all this nonsense. Put whatever term that people are using for good and top tier or ubermensch that you think of, and it always fits. So I'll quote here, tell me, Pook, how long did it take you to be a successful Don Juan despite all the setbacks and bumps? And he's like, it's you guys that see me as some heroic DJ crusading through women. In my eyes, I am not a success, and that's why I'm successful. I'm in literally awe of the situation and the system nature set up for us. I learn new things every day. In fact, there's going to be no time in your life where you thump your chest and you go, I am Don Juan. You won't be successful with every woman, and anybody honest with you will admit this. It's like, think of it like a card game. They get reshuffled, dealt out again. You just get better at it, more sure, and you know what to expect. The next card can be a 2, a 5, a 10, or a queen. Take it as it comes, deal with it as best you can. You learn in the process and can do better to that 10 when she shows up again. This isn't a pinnacle of success the moment one becomes Don Juan. The game never stops. The only difference is that you become game master and the other players react to you instead of reacting to their actions. I think the poker analogy is a perfect analogy. Because you know what, poker, there's a game of randomness to it. There's way too many variables in life to take into account everything. Whether you're going to be a millionaire, whether you're going to be broke, whether you're going to pick a hot chick, whether you're going to pick a not chick, whatever. The whole point of learning game is so that as you're dealt cards, you're better able to deal with the hands you've got. You might get a 7-2 offsuit, really gonna suck, probably not gonna win that one ever, but you know that going in, so your expectations are properly aligned. Or maybe you get, 2 aces, and you know going in there you're gonna have a killer hand, and that's great too. Then you know how to capitalize on it. You know you won't accidentally ruin your hand. And that's the whole point of this stuff. Again, so I'm ending the series on this. Take this for what it's worth. All the stuff in here, it's not a roadmap, it's not 100% truth, it's not philosophy, it's not ideology, it's not anything. It's just a guy saying, I tried some stuff, it worked for me. He made it into a narrative structure so you can start to think about things less artistically and more, literarily, figuratively. Understand these things. These are concepts. They help you get better at playing cards. You're not going to win every hand, and anybody who's honest with themselves will tell you that. But as you get better with it, even in the shitty hands, you're going to have a good game. So I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Stick down to the rest of the Sidebar series. Feel free to watch it all. And again, if you have not read the book, I would suggest reading the book. Treat this as a supplement, not a replacement. Catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.